Okay, let's look at it further. While we are discussing about what made God qualified in telling the Jewish nation, you shall have no other God before me, we look at the actions of the Egyptian government against them, in which they are acting with impunity and without no reservation in unleashing mayhem and oppression as well as suppression upon the people. We begin to think about what is behind them. Any human being that is acting without reservation, that is acting with impunity, and whatever he or she is doing has the backing of a superior power. For instance, in some black nations today, they rises up to do whatever they wanted to do because maybe one of the countries of the West is backing them. Permit me to say this, that the way the Egyptians were unleashing their mayhem on the nation of the Jews at that juncture was too terrible. All important question is, what gave them the audacity to operate this way against these people? And that brings me to this fact that any human being you see that is operating with great audacity and unquestionable audacity has the backings of the Spirit. That is the truth. When one is backed up by powers that are beyond human, he operates with unquestionable authority as well as audacity. That was what God wanted to prove. The God of the Jews wanted to prove to the Jews that what is giving these people power to operate, where they are hanging their motivation for operation, is nothing to rely on, is not worthy of being relied upon. But if we look at the way he came to deliver his people, it was in a very unique and extraordinary way. Let's look at this. When God came, he looked at Pharaoh, the one that was unleashing those ugly policies, and saw that Pharaoh is just a product of his hand. He's just a mere mortal. And God said, the Jewish nation, listen to me. I have remembered the covenant I had with your forefathers, the ancestors of your land, in the person of Abraham, in the person of Isaac, and in the person of Jacob. I have come to deliver you people. But you people were crying unto me against Pharaoh. But Pharaoh is not your problem. I can't come in my full capacity as God to fight ordinary mere mortal. I can't do that. Even though Pharaoh has magnified himself thinking he is God. But I can't come so low to battle it with Pharaoh. I'm going to approach this deliverance. I am going to approach this freedom of yours in a dimension that Pharaoh would not be able to contend with. And the first thing I have to do is to deal with the powers behind him. Of course, you know that when you uproot the root of a tree, the tree will naturally fall. But it is an error for you to come and start cutting the branches with intent to destroy the tree. No. If you really want the tree to be destroyed permanently, go to the root. That is the extent this our God is wise. When he said, you shall have no other God before me, he is qualified to say it to the people. he now came, presented Moses as an instrument of deliverance, a mere mortal, and pushed him to the forefront. He came to this Pharaoh and said, "Let my people go." He said, "No, I don't understand what you are saying. Because the person you are saying told you to go and tell me this, I don't even know him. Number two, I will not listen to him because I have to know him, know his capacity before I begin to listen to him." That was the trajectory of his thought. Permit me to say this. There are people who have made themselves God today because they are having the machinery of governance. No matter what gives you that audacity, remember, there is God in heaven. When God came down to deliver his people, he sent Moses, and Moses came, did a miracle before them, and they started laughing at him. There are people that are listening to me that may not be conversant with the story, the narrative I am presenting to us. But permit me to tell you that if you believe in the Holy Scripture, you'll find what I'm going to tell you in the book of Exodus chapter number 3 down to chapter number 12. When God came, Moses was an instrument in his hand, who threw his rod on the ground, and the rod became a snake, and the Egyptian magicians repeated that. Because the matter on ground now is the power behind the man, or the face behind the mask. That is what is about to be established. Pharaoh, what gave you the audacity of oppressing these people? Today, I want us to know, for some of the African leaders that are oppressing a certain people in their land, God is asking you today, what gives you the audacity to oppress your fellow human being? What is giving you the authority to operate in this way? Am I really behind you? Am I God of oppression? Why are you behaving this way? That is what your maker is saying to you now. It may not make meaning to you, but by the time we are done with what we are saying, if you wouldn't mind continuing with us, you will really know that there is God in heaven who is qualified to tell you, you shall have no other God before me. Call me Pastor Elisha, the reformer with a difference and a rising voice in Africa.